All of us are searching, knowingly or unknowingly, for enlightenment, truth, and harmony in our lives. This program, hosted by Dr. Gregory Penn, will help you aspire to a more fulfilling and rewarding life.
Welcome back to Aspire Unplugged. I'm going to turn this over to Mitch and have him ask me whatever it is that's on his pea picker. So what's on your pea picker?
Well,
That's
today
Tennessee Ernie Ford. You know.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, I'm old. Go on.
All right. Today we're going to talk about Seva. And Seva is actually doing work and tasks.
Selfless service.
Selfless service, okay. And I've been to quite a few ashrams in my life, and Seva was a key part of that. I mean, that's how they make the ashrams run, is people performing Seva. And why is it important? Tell me more about it and why it's important.
Well, just generally speaking, if you're in an authentic spiritual practice, you are selfish, when you come in. People don't realize it's all about me, and you got to take care of me. It's like, what is Trump's thing? America first. That mentality, we even have it in our politics. We should be first. And Seva is to remove me a little bit from my selfishness, my pride, my vanity. And whether you're cleaning toilets in the ashram or you're preparing food in the ashram, that selfless service, which I have done both, is very, very important. You find out that everything you do, Mitch, everything is meaningful and everything's important. How you do it is very important.
The attitude that you bring to it?
Yeah. There's an old Zen story about the arrogant student sitting there watching the old master pulling up water from a well in a bucket, and he's old and like me, and he's pulling that thing, and finally the little monk or arrogant student runs over and thinks in his head and says to him, "Listen, I can make you a pulley system. It's going to make it a lot easier for you."
Yeah.
And the master looks at him and said, "Just think of how the water will taste when I think I'm so clever and I didn't put any effort into it. How do you think that's going to taste?" And the little student said, "I didn't think about it like that." But sometimes you do things because you know how stubborn, the human body is, the human mind. It's very stubborn.
Well, at some point, I would think that if you can release all of the stuff that goes on in your head and you're focused at the task at hand, it's a form of meditation, isn't it?
Absolutely. 100% true. When we went and saw the Brahma Kumaris, remember that? And what a beautiful ashram. There, the Brahma Kumaris. That was a wonderful, that was a beautiful ashram with beautiful people, beautiful food, everybody clean. And that was when you met that wonderful guru and had your moment with her. And this is amazing. Yeah.
It was an amazing place, and the people there had so much love. They were engrossed. Their eyes just melted your heart.
Yeah.
I mean, they were so wonderful.
Yeah.
But so let's take a look at a clip here from a viewer who's asking a question. How can I accept disgrace willingly? Okay. All I can feel is guilt. How do I get past that? So now let's look at a clip from Through the Fires.
Okay. That was a big one.
What does Lao Tzu mean when he says accept being unimportant? Don't be concerned about gain and loss. Well, he isn't talking about right and wrong, good and bad. He's talking about more than that. He's saying stop striving egotistically for the things that you think will make you feel good about yourself and start following the path that is really less traveled. It is the path of the heart. If you start following that path inside of your heart, it looks very foolish to the person who is living their life to be important. Important people want power, control. They want to be able to manipulate. That has nothing to do with a spiritual path. You don't have to find Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, Mahavir, Krishna, any of the great masters that were ever awakened, trying to manipulate their students, their friends, their colleagues, their world, their life. None of that. They're offering to these people a sense of freedom. And freedom is only found through your spirit. It is only found in love. To look at myself as unimportant doesn't mean I degrade myself and go, well, I'm just a useless person on this planet, another appendage in the world. Rather, it is to see what part of me serves its greatest function. The human side, well, I like what Buddha said about our human side. He said it was like a dead log, a painted stick puppet. That's how he described our human body and our human self. Kind of an interesting way to look at it. And he's right. No, the important part of us is your relationship with love, your relationship with your own spirit, your relationship with existence, with life, and how beautiful this all is. That is what is important. And as long as there is a Gregory Edward pen filtering all of this beauty, I will never, ever be able to know it.
Wow.
Good one.
Yeah. Hard.
Yeah.
Hard to let go of doing all that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What do we? I'll break up later on.
Okay.
And start crying. Go on.
Okay, so witnessing the seva in the ashrams and stuff, and the ashrams were beautiful. I mean, most of them that I've been to. And my observation is that, you know, as people are performing these tasks from love, it transforms the physical environment.
And
that could happen-
their environment inside as well.
Yes, it's all hand in hand.
Yes.
And that could truly take place across the planet
Yes, it could.
if everyone could approach their work and their life
Yes.
in that way.
That is true. But can you imagine Putin doing that, or Mr. Trump, or Mr. Biden, or any? No, or Pelosi, who I just read in the newspaper. Her church won't let her take communion because they don't like what she's doing.
Right.
You know, you got all this craziness going on.
Yeah.
You know, all the time. And you're right. Seva has to come from the heart. It's like what the master said to the monk. How do you think that water would taste if I didn't put my whole heart into pulling up the and people don't like, what good is that? You know, again, it's mental acuity, and it has to do with the Kali Yuga stage, the kind of people that have entities that have come into this world, and they're very violent. They're of, you know, the Dark Ages. They're of, you know, the Civil War. You know, things like that. And we see racial inequality going on from people in the South. You wonder, what's wrong with you? Why don't you take care of one another, love one another? But they can't do it.
There has to be conflict always.
You spoke the truth. That's a big truth. It's a fact of this world. Yes, hate, never yet dispelled hate, only love dispels hate, as Buddha said, but we don't go there. So accept disgrace willingly. That's what we want to look at here.
Yeah, I don't want to clean toilets. That's beneath my standing.
I know.
How do I get past that and still doing it and doing it from a place of love?
The moment a student finds out through the practice what a schmuck they really are, they can't go on because they don't have character. And you have to have character to be in an authentic spiritual practice, and they don't have any. They haven't developed character. Most of my students don't have that character. You know, how far do I go? How far do I push them? It's to the point where I realize what I've done to my life, what I've done to my life through other people and to other people, and I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. But they can. I have found there's no end to hate, and there's a very short fuse for love. That's what I've found. And that has a lot to do with forgiveness, which we'll talk about in later programs. 'Right. Yeah. So it's accepting disgrace willingly. I have millennial students. They don't get that. They can't get that.
Well, again, it goes back to people want to be important. They want to have important job. They want to, have the best this and that, and it's climbing this ladder endlessly. I mean, I watched these shows that you told me to take a look at
Yes.
the other day. Bliss,
Whoa.
what was it? Bling Empire,
Bling Empire and
something Sunset.
Selling Sunset.
Selling Sunset.
Can you believe that?
And that's what all it was about, was just about wealth and social status and what they're wearing. And it was all about that. And these people are so engrossed in that, they're missing everything else.
One of the shows in Billions that's on Showtime that got me. I couldn't believe it. I love watching Billions because it's a world that helps me understand where people are coming from that I will never visit.
Yeah.
In New York
A different
City.
perspective.
Yeah. And they showed every time they had a scene with a man or a woman in it, they put up a graphic of what they were wearing and how much it all cost.
Oh, jeez.
No, this was fabulous what they did. I was like, thank you. So these guys, and you look at how they're dressed, it's not as bad as Selling Sunset, but
Yeah.
it's nothing, and the average person, man and woman, well, women were more, $250,000
Oh.
just to come to the office.
Oh, my goodness.
And the man maybe 200,000-300,000 with the coat and the bling,
Right.
yeah. And they did this for every scene, and I love whoever wrote this. I mean, they have great writers.
And was it taking it from the perspective of, look how ridiculous these
Yes,
people are?
look at how ridiculous these, and with all the starving people out in the world, and all
yeah.
the things we could do with money, this is what, and they, what was your bonus last year? Oh, 6-7 million.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
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 And
that's what people are engaged in.
well, yeah, and it started way back when with lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Exactly.
And toddlers and tiaras, I mean, it's all about that.
And
it's
nobody
so-
wants to see that.
Oh, and look at fashion magazines, all of this stuff. It just makes people that don't have that or can't attain that feel bad.
Spend thousands of dollars on a beat-up undershirt. Now everybody's wearing torn jeans.
Yeah.
I asked this lady, I was at a restaurant, she was wearing these torn jeans. I said, doesn't your husband make enough money to buy you some jeans? She said, no, I bought these. I like them. And I said, why do you like them? She goes, I don't know. Everybody's wearing them. That kind of attitude. I don't know.
Not to mention the funny suntan she's going to have on her legs.
Well, it's following the herd.
Yeah.
And never looking, wait a minute, what am I doing?
Well, that's fashion.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's fashion.
Yeah, women, where I live in Carmel, we have a lot of tourists, and women run up and down Ocean Avenue naked, in their action wear, with the tights, the boobs sticking out. You might as well be naked,
Yeah.
And then they wonder, I don't understand why I get raped or why women get raped or all that. Because this is putting suggestions in sickos' heads, men who aren't very controlled.
Right.
And they do weird things.
Well, it's weird because it's like it's saying, look at me, instead of them looking at themselves.
They won't look inside. Yeah. They want to be loved. They don't want love. That's why I wrote a commentary recently, to be loved or to be loved. And those are two different things. Went over like a fart in church, and nonetheless, it has to be said.
That's a big difference there, that they're like complete opposites.
Yeah. And again, as I told you in a program we did here recently, love is very conditional. It's not unconditional.
Well, what's a simple thing someone can do, first step that someone can do to accept disgrace willingly?
I have to be very honest with myself and go, I'm not doing anything outside the norm of my genetic nature. And that's the first thing. And if I can see that and recognize that, then I have to ask myself, what am I doing for the planet? What am I doing that's Seva, selfless service? And accepting disgrace willingly is realizing I've been selfish all my life. All my life, and now it's time for me to do something different. And not to feel guilt and shame for what I used to be, but to feel a sense of compassion for what I'm about to do, which is to help people. That's really, really important. But
It is.
it's not popular. Because America has what's in it for me mentality. We're a bunch of pirates, rapists, killers. We are. Look at us. We're what has freedom given us? Social, political freedom, nothing.
Right.
Nothing but self-destruction. Inner freedom, something different, gives you the ability to love and to forgive, and for that to happen, I have to accept what I have made of myself in this lifetime and not hold it against me, accepting disgrace willingly. So that means no matter what situation I'm in, I take the lower seat at the table, not the higher seat. And I don't need to lead the conversation. I don't need to be right all the time. Rightness is huge, and that's part of accepting disgrace willingly.
Humility.
People, yeah, it's definitely, this pushback that everybody does. You try to help someone. Oh, well, I did that for this reason, or I'm not going to be pushed around. And it's always always an excuse. And usually, hate to say it, a lie. It's a lie. And as a counselor, you sit there and go, do you really believe what you just said to me? Yeah, I do. Then you show them the door. You don't reason with them because it doesn't work.
Right.
So accepting disgrace willingly. If I've been wrong, I've been wrong. What the hell? And all of us at one time or another, we've been wrong.
Well, sure. I mean,
Yeah. But I don't see that as a terrible thing. It's a social disgrace. It's a emotional, mental disgrace, but it's not a disgrace. If I realize, Doc, it hurts when I do that, well, don't do that. And it's really that simple. That's where you begin.
well, let me ask you a question then. If it hurts when I do that, so I'm not going to do that, is that, some people might construe that as I'm just going to go around my problems, or I'm going to avoid conflict. I'm going to not face up to these things that are coming at me, and so that way it's almost like a cop-out. That's clearly wrong understanding on my part, right?
Yeah. The way, if you want to do it that way, just do it that way. Do it the way you said, and watch how you're always going back to the same cul-de-sac. Nothing ever changes. And then you have to look at it and go, well, I did what Greg said, and nothing changed. Well, I wonder why. Because you altered it. You tried to take the fast, easy, quick way, which is what everybody wants.
Sidestep it, and there it is anyway.
Yeah.
Again, in some other form.
Olay.
Yeah.
Yeah, bull, take the bull, olay. They like to put that red flag in front of the bull, that red cape, but we all get our own in the end. And I know people who were in my career, I knew people who were very successful, had lots of money, and just couldn't sit still. I'll never forget this one guy beating the drum. We were doing some drumming at a retreat, and he said, "Why can't I meditate? Why can't..." He was just pounding it, and he was beside himself.
Was he angry? And
Oh, you know this person, yes, very angry. And he was just, and then his wife saw him doing that, got embarrassed, and told him to knock it off.
wow.
He should have, I urged him to go on. I was trying to nurture him and milk him to go on, go deeper, but he couldn't because his wife
Is
thought
that could be like a cathartic type of experience then, right? To just plow through that pain and anger and
let
hopefully
it
break
out.
through the other side.
Yeah, and to come out, you're right. You're absolutely right. But his wife wouldn't let him because it was a disgrace to her. What will people think? That's what she told
And
me.
this was in the context of a workshop or
No, this was at a retreat.
at a retreat.
And you know how my
And the whole
retreat-
point about it is to do that.
That's why you're at a retreat.
Yeah.
And I teach catharsis. I urge my students, I have meditations where they do catharsis work, and they don't do them. They don't want to. They don't want to let that out. They don't want to, because when you feel angry, you feel powerful.
Right.
So, but I have 4 or 5 catharsis meditations, and I tell them, I prescribe them. This is what you got to do. Da da da. We spent one whole retreat doing nothing but catharsis.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that in depth in
Okay.
an upcoming episode. So
Yeah.
hold that thought, and we'll get to that.
All right.
But
I
thank
will.
you.
Thank you. Thank you,
So long,
audience.
everybody.